अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशताय देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today morning discussion, and we are on a very, very important set of verses from the 13th chapter. 13th chapter, where it is kind of a Jnana Yoga section. Not Jnana Yoga as per Jnana Yoga, but the essential Jnana for the practice of Bhakti, to become steady in Bhakti. That is a Jnana being discussed here, where 6 questions were asked: Purusha Prakriti Jnanam Gneyam and Kshetra Jnana. Now, what is this jnanam? Not jnanam, gneyam, the object of knowledge. Jnanam is knowledge. That gneyam is being discussed from the verses 8 to 12. That's the discussion which is going on. And we have so far read the purport where we talked about the qualities like what is humility, what is non-violence. Humility means not to be anxious, to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. That is humility. Like this. Then what is non-violence? Is not to put others in difficulty or distress, or not to violate or not to inhibit or restrict anyone's progress or opportunity for others to become Krishna conscious, not to prohibit that, rather facilitate that. Tolerance is a fantastic point Prabhupada writes. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. This is something which we want to highlight for ourselves. Whoever we are, it would always happen, Someone or other would create an issue, and we need to learn to tolerate. The next quality was simplicity, which means straightforward without duplicity. But it does not mean that we speak harshly like that. Idea is we speak it such a way that we help others become closer to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, Yudhishthira Maharaj example would not fit in here, or Krishna's, because Krishna himself said Yudhishthira Maharaj to lie. I remember when I was growing up, my mother would always tell me, this thing, a lie, if it is spoken for a, let's say, a higher benefit, then that lie is not called as a lie. I didn't understood the concept unless I started reading Prabhupada's book, that what is lie and truth? That is also very subjective in this world. Lie and truth can only be about absolute truth. There is only one thing which is eternal or which is truth here. That is, as we know, we read about the holy names of the Lord, which is existing in this creation, which we have is the holy name. Everything else is temporary, everything else is changing. What does not change? The absolute truth, which means is guna, rupa, nam, lila, that does not change. So what we say truth, what we say lie, is highly subjective to various conditions, is debatable in all time, place, circumstances. There is one thing which does not change, that is the Supreme Lord. So if in case to serve the Lord and to bring somebody closer to God, at that point of time, if a lie is spoken from the mundane perspective, it is not a lie. Your family members say, oh, why did you tell me a lie? You were going to Vrindavan for yatra and you told me you have such an office business meeting that you cannot visit me for family get-together. Is it a good lie or bad lie? Family get-together or Vrindavan? It's a good lie. Going with devotees to Vrindavan. I'm just giving an example, So many times devotees get confused about it. Now, if you're driving on a street and you come on a highway, and then there's a toll plaza, and now you take out some fake old uh, toll ticket, and you hide the date, hold it, and show it, and he sees something, and then opens the gates, and you drive away quickly, and then you say, "Oh, this is for the higher service." This is right or wrong? This is wrong. You are a grasta. You're supposed to pay. What is this? Why are you cheating like this? I mean, if you cheat like this, then it becomes a part of your habit where you will cheat with devotees also. Because you want to save some petty money for what? As if you're going to save that money, what you have saved, you're going to go and put right in the hundi. As if the temple is running because that 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees. So there is a distinction. There is a difference. In a certain practice, we have to do it. Just like we have to be a law-abiding citizen, as long as it does not disturb our bhakti and others' bhakti. But if it is something which is disturbing, let's say you're running late for your pujari, you're running late, then I'm not saying you jump traffic signals. I'm not indicating. I'm saying you can drive a little faster. But work it out. That's something which you have to understand. Then cleanliness is of two types, external and internal. External, every morning we wake up, we take bath. Brahmanas would take at least 2 to 3 times bath in a day, like that. And ideally, we should take at least twice a bath in a day, one in the morning, one in before twilight. Like that, it helps the consciousness. Second, cleanliness is internal cleanliness. We bathe our consciousness with the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What is that very beautiful sloka that comes in the Ajamil and section, where Sukadeva Goswami tells in the very first chapter of 6th canto, Niharam iva bhaskaraha, agam dhunvanti kasneya niharam iva bhaskara, kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha, agam dhunvanti kasnena niharam iva bhaskara. Very fantastic verse. Kechit kevalya, only what? Vasudeva parayana. Parayana means to surrender. We only need to take shelter of the Supreme Personality Godhead, son of Vasudeva, known by the name of Vasudev. Kechit kevalya bhaktya Vasudeva parayana niharam iva bhaskara. Agham dhunvanti kasnena. When someone takes the shelter of the holy names or the Lord, chanting is a means, we take shelter of the Lord, then agham dhunvanti kasnena. Just like, have you ever seen Dhobi Ghat? Dhobi Ghat pe log kapda leke pakad ke peette hain. Patak, patak, patak. Like that. Agham dhunvanti. Dhum. Dhum. तुम्हारी पिटाई नहीं पड़ी, तुम्हारे अनाथों की पिटाई पड़ी, घबराओ मत. So your anathas are beaten up like that, kasneya. And to make it a more simpler example and analogy, even that much effort is not put. Sukadeva Goswami says, Niharam eva bhaskara? Question may arise, who's going to beat the anathas? You or Krishna? Sukadeva Goswami, Niharam eva bhaskara. Just like when the sun rises in the morning, the mist disappears on its own. As we become Krishna conscious, anathas will disappear on its own. That's it. Straightforward thing. So that's the point what we're talking about. Why we chant Hare Krishna? Just by chanting Hare Krishna, our internal clearness happens. Steadiness, whatever happens. Apiche sudurachara bhajate maam ananya. Bhajate maam ananya. He's fixed up in all situations. And self-control, one should accept anything which one should not accept anything which is detrimental, and one should become accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress like that. And false ego, we discuss about the understanding of distress of realization of the fact of the distress caused due to janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Prabhupada writes very beautiful line in that paragraph. Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distresses of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus for making advancement in spiritual life. All your motivational speakers try to destroy your pessimistic life, the viewpoint of pessimism. What the motivation speaker are? You can do it! You can win! Shiv Khera, right? What was that book? You can win. I can do it, something like that. Okay, some of you are not aware. This was back in 20 years ago. There was a very famous motivational book. You can do it, like that, So Prabhupada says you have to have a pessimistic view. This is hopeless. And if you have a pessimistic view, in the outside people say, "Hey, tu to bada niraj jeevan ji raha hai." That's the reason people ask, "Why in such a young age you took to bhakti? कुछ हो गया क्या? गर्लफ्रेंड छोड़ गई, जॉब चली गई, माँ बाप ने घर से निकाल दिया, क्या हुआ?" Because they think you cannot come to the path of bhakti unless you have become really hopeless about that there is any opportunity. Prabhupada saying better be hopeless only if you want to make a progress. You cannot become steady unless you are hopeless about that there is there is no success. Now is it a good point or not? Because somewhere we still have a hope. I can do something. I can be a hero. I can be a successful. So we keep struggling with that. Prabhupada says, no, better habits. And then for detachment, where are we supposed to read from? This paragraph or false ego? Oh, we're supposed to read from false ego. Oh, I'm so sorry. एक इसको बोलना था ना, false ego से पढ़ना है. Hey, बोले, have you enabled the speaker? I can't hear anyone from there. The sound check करो. Okay, false ego से पढ़ना है, ठीक है. So false ego. False ego means accepting this body as oneself. When one understands that it is not his body and his spirit soul, he comes to his real ego. Ego means I is always there. False ego means misunderstanding of I. In the literature, it is said, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am spirit. This is I am, the sense of self, also exists in the liberated stage of self-realization. The sense of I am is ego. But when the sense of I am is applied to this false body, it is false ego. When the sense of self is applied to reality, that is real ego. There are some philosophers who say why we should give up our ego, but we cannot give up our ego because ego means identity. We ought, of course, to give up the false identification with the body. False ego. Aham mameti. It all begins with this whole misunderstanding. Who am I? Just like there's a beautiful story. I'll make it a little short. Well, leave it. It'll take time. We'll take it. Tell you some of the time. But in essence, false ego means misidentification. And into misidentification, then we have misattachments. When I say I am this body, then what are the misattachments? All the connections to this body are my real connections. I mean, it may sound a little harsh in the beginning, but just think about it. If you think from the perspective of the philosophy, you're not the body but spirit. Who are your mother and father? Who is your brother and sister? Who is he? Who is she? Who is your wife? Who are your son and daughters? Even if you have your son and daughter, I mean, is it something that you forecasted and planned? I'm going to have so and so in my life. It's all random. I mean, it's not random. I'm sorry to use the word random. There's nothing random in this creation. I mean to say for you, it is ad hoc. For you, you have no idea of it. What is going to happen? Think about it. But because we identify with the body, how this concept becomes how this becomes more stronger, because we identify with this and we get so much absorbed in this concept of I and mine. This is my dwelling. This is my job. I remember when I went to America to study, and we were having what they call as orientation. It was Ohio State University back in Columbus, Ohio, which had this indoor auditorium and almost 5,000 students can sit. It was huge, huge auditorium like that. And there, at one time of our orientation, somebody came. I don't know what was going on. I was kind of dozing off. I was anyways tired from a long flight, so I was least interested what they were doing. So I do remember at one point in time, somebody came up on the stage, and they wanted to create this identification among all the students. Now that you're part of a legendary university, he came and said, okay, he spoke about how great is his university, all that. So all of you are Buckeyes now. They call Ohio State University students Buckeyes. It's I believe it's the name of the football team. It's one of the best football teams, soccer, whatever they call in America, like that. So, and then he came, okay, so all of you, now you are the part of the Buckeye movement, the Buckeyes community and society. Say, oh, H, I, oh. I mean, मैं सो रहा था, मैं भी जग गया, क्या हुआ, मैं भी करने लगा, oh, चले का क्या चल रहा है? And what is going on? And they were creating a sense of identification. I didn't understand what happened, and I'll tell you what happened later on, because Well, anyways, long story short, research fellowship didn't work out and all that. So I thought, no, I need some job. So I thought, what can I do? So I saw an advertisement where there was something called as patent department, they call it, something like that, where there was a big building and it was like a call center when I went there. And what you had to do, you had to call up your students and families who have graduated from that particular college, from Ohio State University, and you have to call them and tell them, हमें थोड़ा donation दो, पैसा बहुत कम है. And then I was connecting the point. I said, first they created an identification that I'm Ohio Buckeyes, and now on that name you're expecting money. As if they were giving free education. No free education, huh? Everything was paid. And on top of it, now because you are the part of legendary university, Ohio University, Buckeye, and you have to do this and all that. Anyways, long story short, this is what the false ego does. It creates a sense of identification, it creates a sense of belongingness to things of this world which do not exist. As long as I was a part of the Ohio State University campus, studying there, I could identify with it. When I graduate, do I have anything to do with it? But college do not want to leave you, so they create an alumni group. They don't leave you. I mean, this is, latching on. You can apply the same thing that happens in any relationship that we have around. They create an alumni group not for your good. They create an alumni group for their own benefit, to showcase how great our students have been placed now. I go to Symbiosis, you go there, they have this alumni. Not all the alumni they'll put it there. Which alumni profile they'll put? Those are successful. So everything in this world is for my sake. Every relationship in this world is for my sake. That's what the false ego does. And we become a victim to this whole idea that I belong to this. I belong to this community. I belong to this college. I belong to this family. Are you able to see that? Everywhere this forum. Now, for example, does your company have any alumni forum? You have worked for 10 years in company? You studied for 4 years in college, they have alumni, but you worked in company for 10 years. Do you have alumni forum where they host you every year for a big party? Oh, you had been in my part of family. You worked for Infosys for 10 years. I'm so grateful. Please come. I'll host your party. Never. Why does college does it? For their benefit. Everything. So this whole idea in this whole world, if you see, of creating a sense of belongingness, there is an agenda. And that agenda is to fulfill my goals. To fulfill. And if it is not to fulfill my goals, then I got nothing to do with you. Now, you may say, but Lord Shri Krishna himself created a system of community. He created, families. He created units like towns, kingdom. He created. And there has to be sense of belongingness. Yes, to live in this world, we do need to have a sense of belongingness. Without that, we cannot function. But I'm speaking about what is false ego. And that is what Bhagavad is saying. While having a sense of belongingness to this world and to the things of this world, do not remain disconnected. Anyways, we are disconnected. I would not say become disconnected, but do not remain disconnected from your real identity. Who are you? Mamaivamsa Jivaloka Jivabhuta Sanatana. I am the part and parcel of Lord. That should not happen. If we are disconnected from our real identity, then we get only absorbed in our false identity. And there we manifest our false ego to extreme levels like Ravana. It was his false ego. When his son also died, Abhijit, right? Indrajit, Andhiri. When his son also died, who was invincible, Mandodari came. You lost your brother Kumkaran. You lost your son. You lost everyone. She was worried. Ultimately, he was her husband. She was worried about his protection, in return, her own protection. If you see, that's what the whole thing in this world is. She said, please give back Sita. What did Ravana said? No. So false ego can go to that extent where you are willing to destroy everyone, including yourself, for the protection of your own identification. What was the identification? I would not let myself be called as a loser. I would die in a battle than to be called as I allowed Sita to be one. And particularly he was why feeling so disturbed, because Ram was acting in a human form. He said, what people will say? A mere human defeated me? Bali Maharaj defeated Ravana, it was acceptable because Vanara. Vanara is a higher race than the human. This is not Vanara of the forest. This is another species. This is a higher race than the human. So he was fine to accept that. Kartavya Arjun was a known who had 1,000 arms. Here Ram had 2 hands. He's walking in the forest, he didn't have an army. So it was a big Fosigo. This is how this whole Fosigo meant. And anyways, it's a subject in itself. I give you some clues about it. So anyways, long story short, what Krishna is saying, we cannot really get over a Fosigo while being part of this world, but we should also try to reestablish our true ego. Who am I? I am the part and parcel of the Lord. I am the eternal servant of the Lord. That's the point here. Okay. All right. Next paragraph about Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Okay, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, let's attempt to hear from you. Hopefully, we can
Hare
hear you.
Krishna.
Fantastic.
One should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age, and disease. There are descriptions in various Vedic literatures of birth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the world of the unborn, the child's stay in the womb of the mother, its suffering, etc., are all very graphically described. It should be thoroughly understood that birth is distressful. Because we forget how much distress we have suffered within the womb of the mother, we do not make any solution to the repetition of birth and death. Similarly, at the time of death, there are all kinds of sufferings, and they are also mentioned in the authoritative scriptures. They should be discussed. And as far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. No one wants to be diseased, and no one wants to become old, but there is no avoiding there. Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distress of birth.
This is the point. Please highlight for yourself. Beautiful point by the Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distress of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life.
Wow, what a fantastic point. And in this context, my bad in the beginning, I thought we have read this. So I was making a point. All this motivational talks and everything is about what? Become successful. You know, we don't need motivational talk. What we need rather is the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was perplexed, Arjuna was hopeless. Krishna gave him motivational talk. I often say to the audience, the original motivational speaker was Krishna. And still, Krishna is the original motivational speaker. He'll remain that. But what was his motivational speech? The motivational speech or the wisdom that he gave through that talk, which is called as Bhagavad Gita, did not brought Arjuna into ignorance or did not strengthen his false ego. Rather, situated him in the right platform of understanding, made him successful in his material life, and made him excel in his spiritual life. Yes or no? That is a true motivational talk. If somebody just talks about your progress in the material life, and there are a lot of Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street today, they'll talk about do this, you can do that, and whatnot, like that. What about your spiritual life? Well, they cannot speak about spiritual life because they don't know about spiritual life. Now, if as a spiritualist I have to say, they have to give up their pessimism about spiritual life. They have to give up their pessimism about does God exist or not. They think God does not exist. Oh, you are having a negative outlook. So before you hear from such people, tell them you go and hear a motivational talk first. Fix up your spiritual life. Then you come and tell people about motivation. Because what you're giving otherwise is a half knowledge, which is more dangerous than no knowledge. And you inspire a person, take it away from his actual success. So all the motivational speakers on the street who are speaking and all that, they first of all themselves need a motivational talk from a speaker like Krishna. That's mine. Next paragraph. As for detachment. All right, Nikhil Prabhu or Mother Sonam, whoever is online, go ahead and read it. Others who would like to read, they can raise their hands. I'll call upon your names. Nikhil, Sonam, any one of you? Yeah. Go ahead.
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Nikhil here.
Go ahead. Audible.
And wife and home, it is from children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feeling for these.
We are not able to hear you. Not sure if it is our internet issue or at your end. Okay, Nikhil, come back. Mother Sangeeta, you try reading it out.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Audible.
For detachment from children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feeling for these. They are natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should be attached to them. The best process for making the home pleasant in Krishna consciousness, if one is full of Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy because his process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna, have some discussion on books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These four things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. In this way, the family members can sit down morning and evening and chant together Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If one mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness following these four principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. But it is not congenial for favorable for spiritual advancement, then family life should be abandoned. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Arjuna did not want to kill his family members, but when he understood that these family members were impediments to his Krishna realization, he accepted the instruction of Krishna and fought and killed them. In all the cases, one should be detached from the happiness and distress of family life, because in this world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. Happiness and distress are
All right. One must sacrifice. We'll come back to the next point. One must sacrifice everything. I'm just reading from the same paragraph. Yeah. Everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Just even for little material success, for let's say to make some money or to have some security of one's well-being, right? What security well-being? Just to have ahar nidra, have a place of dwelling, or let's say dwelling, or place of dwelling, or food to eat. Didn't we sacrifice 20 years of our life? Yes or no? We went through school, we went through college, and we are struggling, foaming at our mouth to make that money and somehow feed ourselves, and which we are not yet able to digest, and we go to doctor now. Hi, na? So when we are, point I'm trying to raise is we kind of have to come to terms of reality. Nothing in this world is easy. Somebody may say, why can't I just sit at home and be God conscious? Why do I need to sacrifice? No, nobody is saying you need to leave your home. But not that you're going to sit on your bed and while lying, you think I'll chant the holy names of the Lord. No, there is certain procedure because the material world is designed like this. Unless you make an effort, you know what material world is. My spiritual master Radhana Swami Maharaj makes a beautiful point. What is the material world? What is the fact about material world? Just like we have a law of gravity. Law of gravity is whatever goes up has to come down because of law of gravity. Similarly, this material world is designed. There is a law which pulls everyone's consciousness down. If you stay stationary, not doing anything to make progress in your consciousness, you will be dragged down to extreme level of depths of ignorance and exploitation. And he gives an example then. It's just like if you know swimming and if you like to swim, if you swim in a river, if you're swimming downstream, you don't have to make an effort. In fact, the water takes you. It is but natural. But if you have to swim upstream, oh, so much effort. Yes or no? And if you think, no, I'm just gonna, what is that particular swimming position that I generally do? Lie on the back, floating. Let's say, if you think you're floating, you cannot float. Can you float? You can float, but can you remain stationary at one place? If you start floating, then after a while, when you open your eyes, when you're floating on your back, you're looking at the sky, such a beautiful day. And when after a while you come back to your sense, you realize you're in a different city. Yes or no? Because the water will take you. So the point I'm making is, as Maharaj says, that in this world, it is designed to drag you down. But if you want to make a progress, And we're talking about making progress in your consciousness. It's all a matter of consciousness. Then you have to swim upstream, which means you have to endeavor. And to do that, you have to sacrifice. What sacrifice? And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives an example. It's less like a boat. As long as it's latched a hook to the coast, how much ever the boatman paddles or rows, can it go? Can it move? No. So for the boat to move forward, it has to give its connection to that coastline. Yes or no? Similarly, for us to make a progress, we have to give up our connections, attachments to all those who binds us to the coastline of material life. And that could be your friends, foremost of friends, and at times could be your family members. I am not saying about your husband and kids, no. You're staying there, so that is not. But for a while, you might be required to maintain some distance from your immediate family members and extended family members. Or else, don't disclose that you have started to swim upstream. Why? Oye, hum niche ja rahe hai, tu upar ja raha hai. And we will kick in. And LP will manifest in various ways. How? Oh, this is totally wrong. ISKCON is bad. Spiritual life is bad. God does not exist. This is bad. That is bad. And they'll give you a number of reasons, pretending to be a genuine well-wisher, when such a person, Ishopanishad says, Atmanaha. Such a person, Ishopanishad says, is a killer of the soul, which means he's himself an exploitator. He's a biggest self-abuser. A biggest self-abuser is becoming a well-wisher for others. Is that ever possible? I'm not saying that. This is Ishopanishad text number 4. What is that shloka? Anda tamana pravishanti ye ke cha atmahano janaha. That's the last line. Anyways, so that's the point here. So upstream. So when you're swimming upstream, it's going to require effort. There's going to be some physical strain. Not only physical strain, you need a lot of strength of mind. You need a lot of strength of mind. Therefore, it is said before that, steadiness, determination is required. At times when you're going to swim, first of all, think about it. If I can just focus on this analogy for a while. When you begin to swim, you don't know swimming in spiritual life. You're a baby. You take a baby step. Then for you to move forward, how important is it for you to hold on to somebody who knows to swim? Yes or no? Unless you hold on to somebody who knows to swim, can you really swim across? Or forget across. Can you keep swimming upstream? It is not possible. First thing, it's not possible if you don't latch onto somebody who guides you, who protects you. Second thing, even if you latch onto somebody, let's say with one hand you're latching onto his feet, and with other hand you're latching onto your connections to the coastline. You will not go, and you'll make his life also difficult. Prabhuji, this is the problem. Prabhuji, that is the problem. Prabhuji, ye ho gaya. Prabhuji, wo ho gaya. How many times you've seen people keep on running around the endless problems, the same problem, because they don't want to lose their connection, give up their connection, and they keep running in a circle. So these are some of the quick thoughts. I don't want to really elaborate. This is a beautiful knowledge. We can really build upon it. But time is coming to conclusion here. So this is a point here. What are we talking about? Why was I giving this analogy here? Detachment, sacrifice. We have to give up connections. We have to. And this is my generally a recommendation to all. When you come to Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, yes? Okay. I was just saying, this all discussion began with the point that we were reading from sacrifice. Can you open the screen again? Veda base. That was a point visible for me there. I just, where is it? Yeah. The point was one must sacrifice everything to realize Asa Krishna. So here I was making point, just to even make, bread and butter. We had to spend 20 years of education. So much struggle we went through. Who loved going to school? We were kicked by our parents. Chala, bahar nikal. If we went to school, then we were kicked by our teachers. Chal, chup baith yahan par. And at the end, when the school ended, chalo, get lost from here. We were kicked back and there. हर जगह लात खाई, हर जगह झापा खाया. खाते खाते सपना क्या दिखाया? When you will get a job. You can take off the screen now. When you will get a job, life will be successful. Then you got a job, then you get a kick from your manager. And तुम कहते हो यार दुनिया में हर कोई लात मारता है. और उसके बाद when somebody becomes your subordinate, अब मैं लात मारूंगा. आज तक खाई है. अब खिलाऊंगा. As a manager, maybe as a father, maybe as a husband. But not, this is my time to give back. What give back? Only abuses, only exploitation. Think about the birthday cakes. What nonsense. Is that a birthday celebration? Are you preparing for his death or what? You lift him up, happy birthday, bhad, happy birthday, bhad. There's utter frustration. How many of you have got those birthday cakes here? Raise your hand. पिटाई खा है तुम लोग पकड़ के पीटना था. Nobody could dare to touch me. मैं कहा मारूंगा पकड़ के किसी हाथ लगा. Don't give me this nonsense. I mean, understand. I was not in college life also. When this birthday bumps used to happen, it never made sense to me. मैंने कहा, are you really my well wisher? Forget well wisher. Are you my friend or enemy? कि birthday के नाम पे पिटाई निकाल रहे हो, हाँ? बोला अरे हर के बर्थडे पे हम लोग ऐसे करते हैं. मैं कहा देख मैंने तेरे को लाती मारी ना, तो तुझे भी लाती मारने दूंगा. So I never used to hit anyone like this. And you saw that जब बर्थडे बम होता था, वो जो पैसेज होता था वहां पे निकालते थे. पैसेज में फ्रेंड्स आते थे और जब जैसे ही उसको उठाते थे पैसेज की लाइट बंद कर देते थे और जो धड़ाधड़ लाते पड़ती थी उसको नहीं पता उसको दोस्त मार रहा है दुश्मन मार रहा है. How many of you have that experience? Anyways, this is just a material life. You get abused and then you abuse others. Are you able to see the connection what I'm making here? This is what the life is all about. And in that context, I was making a point that how if you need to make progress, I was quoting his Radhanath Swami Maharaj that how the law of this world is to drag you down. In that context, I then quoted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur example of a boat. If you're latched onto the coastline, you really cannot move. How much have you make an endeavor? And then if you have to swim upstream, you have to make a strength. You have to have a physical strength. You have to have a mental strength. When we begin our spiritual life, we are like baby. To make a progress, we need to give a time for ourselves to grow physically. And for that, we need to latch onto somebody who is an expert swimmer. So he can at least take me certain distance. And to be able to do that, we need to at least release our connection to the coastline. Or at least loosen our connection, if not release. And how to loosen? I'll make that as a last point. It's a good practice in the beginning. Don't make it public about your spiritual life. Don't tell, I am attending Bhagavad Gita classes. I have started chanting and meditation. You see how much tension your family members get into it. They have never had a sweat coming as if, they're about to get harder. क्या हो रहा है? हमें छोड़ के चला गया. And I said, when people are going downstream, but naturally, when they look at you and they're not seeing you coming downstream, they don't say, oh, you're doing a good job. Very rarely you will find them. They'll begin to say, oh, something is wrong. This ISKCON is a money making. Can you imagine height of foolishness? ISKCON is connecting money in India, sending to America. America has become rich because ISKCON is collecting money in India. Sending to America. For God's sake, I don't know. And people buy this kind of things. How crazy it is. So this all goes on. So just keep mum, continue on. Our focus in the beginning should be to strengthen our relationship with our spiritual mentor and spiritual authority, on whose relationship we are trying to make progress. There we should put attention, not make an attention public disclosure. So go through education, things would be okay, give yourself time, because your faith is steady, because you have chosen to latch onto it, or maybe the preacher have latched onto you. I guess generally preacher latches onto us, then we latch onto the preacher. This is called as follow-up. किसी ना किसी को preacher पकड़ के बैठा था, खींचो, इसको लेके जाओ, और वो कहता नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. So just hang on to that relationship. All right, that's a point here. What was the paragraph we read? I'm kind of lost in my own book. Can you show the screen what is the next paragraph so I get an idea? What is the next paragraph next? Is happiness. Yeah, so that's a 15th paragraph in my book. We still have one more page. These are 20 items of knowledge. Don't mind. This is what the complete items of knowledge. So we can continue our discussion next time. Happiness and distress. Wow, fantastic. Purport again. Maybe we can just read. Being Saturday, we can just spend 10 minutes more. Is that okay? It's holiday only, right? Why to cut short?
Holy day.
I couldn't hear. What is that, Krishna Prabhu?
Holy day.
Holy day. Okay, holy day. Holy day. Before holy, we are getting holy day. All right. Okay, text number 15, not 15, sorry, para 15. Next paragraph. I marked it 15. Who would like to read next? Okay, Mother Yagya, go ahead, read out.
Dandavat Pranam. Happiness and distress are concomitant factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate, as advised in Bhagavad Gita. One can never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress, so one should be detached from the materialistic way of life and be automatically equipoised in both cases. Generally, when we get something desirable, we are very happy, and when we get something undesirable, we are distressed. But if we are actually in the spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. To
Oh,
reach,
what a point. Who is here gets agitated? Let's ask this. How many of you here get agitated very easily? Affected both by success and failure? Raise your hands. Ah! It's like we're going through electric shock. Ah! So yeah, and this kind of trouble has become more in the modern society, like that. And therefore, Prabhupada wants, we all have that because we are part of this modern culture. Too easily we get affected and we lose our temper, whatnot, and too easily we become happy and joyful. People laugh out loud, ha ha ha, पूरा पूरा ऊपर से नीचे सुनाई देता है, कौन हंस रहा है कौन रो रहा है करके. So therefore, Prabhupada often makes a point in this regard. If I just want to make a connection, I mean, if our mind gets so disturbed now, what would be at the time when we are facing the pain due to death? The death is not only about suffering of the body. Greater than that is the fear. What's next? The fear that I would be put into a situation where I would not be together with the people who I know of, or who I love, who I connected to. That fear, that pain arising because of that fear is far greater than the bodily suffering. Are you able to acknowledge and understand this? When it is said, it is, 30,000 or 42,000 biting of the scorpions, like that, is not only about the physical pain. Greater than the physical pain is mental agony. And what is mental agony? The fear of uncertainty. I am going to lose everything. I'm going to lose all my hard-earned wealth. I'm going to lose my control. I'm going to lose my influence. I'm going to lose my body. What next? Can you imagine those who do not understand spiritual life? What a terrible suffering it is to go through that. So that's okay. I spoke about them, but coming back to a point of being agitated, for us, our agitation would not be much from uncertainty of future. Those who are properly situated and studied and understood the Bhagavad Gita philosophy, even theoretically we have understood, we can still a little bit deal with it. But we still have to deal a lot with physical agony. Bodily pain is also there. So my understanding of dealing with this agitation of mind is we can only deal with it or deal better with it or become better in dealing with it, if I put it that way, in a progressive way, only on the strength or the quality of our chanting. It is only determined by that factor. If we chant quality with quantity along, of course 16 rounds minimum, and it takes months and years of practice. If we do that, just Ekadashi, yesterday was Ekadashi. So when we know it's Ekadashi, I should chant more. I should take out my time to chant more because I'm preparing myself for something. That is one way, because we have to begin with some platform. To chant because Krishna would be pleased is not our platform. That would not happen on our platform. That can happen for our 16 rounds. For 17th round is not for the pleasure of Krishna. You can try it out. Once you finish 16 rounds, and then you say, okay, let me chant one more round. See how much your mind will dance on your dance. अरे मुझे कपड़े धोने हैं, मुझे किचन में जाना है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है, क्या करना है, हाँ या ना? Then the pleasure of Krishna. So point is, pleasure of Krishna is not there because the vow we have taken, we chant 16 rounds. Oh, it's okay. So that is pleasing of Guru. But if you really think you're chanting for pleasure of Krishna or Guru, then chant 17th round. So it's because of commitment. So we are duty bound. So that is not the reality. Okay, for duty bound. So if we have this understanding, then we'll chant. Okay, this is the only way I should stop wasting my time in Prajalpa talking here and there. When I have an opportunity, I should chant, because that only is going to fix me or save me from this mental agony, as well as give me the ability to tolerate physical pains. Think about it. I'll just quote one example, move forward, because all of us probably are familiar of the physical health. In this case, is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. I mean, it's totally beyond any conception of body and bodily suffering. Now, being a leader in ISKCON, you don't only have bodily suffering, which is part of being in the material world. Being in ISKCON and leadership position, you get a lot of mental suffering, thanks to your followers. They'll keep coming to you with hundreds and dozens of thousands of problems. Yes or no? This is what is a very painful situation. Now, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, if you look at him only, you forget your misery. You know, somebody who's in such a physical problem for more than a decade, yet continues on, day in, day out, preaching. He never says no to anyone. No to anyone. We wanted to meet him, said yes. I mean, I just could not believe how and why would he say yes to meet us. When we recently went to Mayapur. You have a physical health issue. I mean, you know, why to meet everyone? Who am I? Who were some of us who want to meet? No meet, milenge. Maharaj meets with everyone. Maharaj gives time to everyone. Now, there are a lot of people who will be going and telling Maharaj, this is a problem, that problem, and you're a leader, you're a GBC. So much ISKCON problems will be there because large community. But if you see him, oh man, he's beyond everything. So I'm just giving one such example. There are many such examples. You know, you say Loknath Swami Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, you see his health is so physically bad like that. There's Radhanath Swami Maharaj, many of them, you know. But I just took an example of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj because we know he's on wheelchair. We know we cannot walk, so we know physically he's really in a bad situation. That was making point. So how are they able to overcome that? Because they really invested in the spiritual life. They really chanted nicely. They really practiced Krishna consciousness very nicely. And we are so fortunate that we have this living examples with us. These are the Mahabhagavats, that we have the living example who have crossed beyond and who are teaching us that this is fact. What Bhagavad Gita says, what Prabhupada says, these are reality. We have hope. Next paragraph. The paragraph is over? Or was continuing? Who is reading it? Yeah, go ahead.
To reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna without deviation means engaging oneself in the 9 processes of devotional service: chanting, hearing, worshipping, offering respect, etc. As described in the last verse of the 9th chapter. That process should be followed.
All right. I guess better we pause here. Otherwise, this will go on for long. We'll continue next time. So we can, Monday morning, we'll probably be catching up together. So Monday morning when we meet, we'll continue discussion on the last paragraph. So, I mean, yeah, I should not have gone into so much discussion, but I just wanted to share one idea that I had while speaking these things is, there is so much to reflect on Srila Prabhupada's writings. You know, when you're reading, and it becomes more wonderful. For example, let's say we are having the forum where we can discuss out certain things. Of course, not too much. That's not the idea of this forum. But imagine now you pick a book and you start reading with a friend, and now you read something and you discuss. That is called a machitta madgata prana bodhiyanta parasparam. And also one forum is where we share. There is another forum which becomes very meaningful is where we discuss. Now, for that forum, you have to be of a peer association, like that. So we should find, point is, Prabhupada books are so rich with wisdom, and those who have been practicing for several years, they should definitely have one peer forum where they can come and contemplate. You'll get to know that personal realization. So if in case opportunity arises, point is, we don't need to go anywhere else outside of Prabhupada books to really enjoy our life. To really, really find great joy in our life. Prabhupada have given everything, but it's in you can say, in a codified form. We discuss and we further explore and discuss about it, like that. So with that, I'll kind of pause here. Bear with me, we went a little overboard. It's all spontaneous. So the folks here, I'll just take 2 minutes of all of you, and then we'll have our meeting. We can call our fellows if they can come for 10 minutes. So our team here, I just want to take a quick minute and would like to briefly introduce you to the thing that I had been working lately, which is directly related to all of you. It is actually meant for all of you only. So I had been. Why is the share is not going on? Resume share क्या कह रहा है? Stop share. Yeah. Is this visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So it's my humble request to all the members who are online. What I'll just make it very short. I'll probably record a video which you can watch it later on for this whole thing. I should actually start from a sign out thing. So this is a community we have created, kind of thing, a group of us who have been working on this project for lately. Two purposes I see. One is for myself, because there are so many different activities are going on. It becomes a little difficult for me really know people who is who and where they're connected to, and to really plan out things in that way. So now Evolve Pune earlier was only serving courses. From day one, I had actually a vision for making a community rather than only giving education, where people can come and we can take to the next level of Machitta Madgata Prana and discuss more. And to have that, we don't, our connection has to move from one to many to one. You getting it? Now that one to happen, I needed a forum, because now we are living in the time of information age, where it's not possible. We are not restricted only to our local, forum, which means, let's say I'm in Hinjawadi, it's the Hinjawadi. Since COVID thing happened, everything became global. For example, in this forum only, there are devotees from different places. There's Grace Krishna Chandra Prabhu is there, Mother Madam is from Bombay, Krishna Chandra Prabhu is from Malaysia, many other devotees from different places. Now, because of information or this technology allows us to connect across the globe, which means we can still find like-minded people. It does not really matter. We need to be locally connected. So for that, as a background, we created this community where, as a student, oh man, I would need this thing. This is my old password. Agnil, I cannot log in here. Otherwise, you log in here. This is my old password here. Can you quickly come and log in here? Okay, forget it. If you don't know, let me just do the Google. Bear with me for all this confusion. I don't remember my password for this, because I have an admin account, so we made a tricky password here. Anyway, so I've just signed in with Google. Quick Google sign in, you can do it. So if you see, when you're gonna come over here, you have your side dashboard about everything, and now you have your dashboard here, which you can go, and that talks about you, is your page, where you have all the information about your activities, as well as on this community platform. Now we can create our social groups. Actually, I should have shown my profile. This will look bad, not things. Okay, anyways. So when you do that, when you sign in, my humble request is, please go ahead and finish up your profile. And I would really appreciate if you can put up your photos. This platform is going to look like a Facebook. All the activities of Facebook can happen, but the best part is there is only us. This is not open to public. So, many times devotees don't upload their photos on Facebook because they fear their old friends and all that. This is not a public thing. This is only we are there. So I wanted, so at least I know at times who is there, who is not there, and with face. If I travel, sometimes a lot of time people meet and say, we know you, but it becomes difficult. And plus it, makes it more personal, just to know person by face. You can do that. You can access all your courses here. You can go to the news feed, and then you have your social groups. I can quickly show you what these are, which means for every course, we can create our own groups and forums for that reason. I'll give it a presentation. It'll create difference here. Wait a second. I'll come back to all of you guys in a short while. So here, pick up where you left. If you were working on a certain course which you couldn't, so you can just come here. Latest from the community at the bottom. You have a forum, latest from the community. You have all the members here. We have around 6,000 community members on our platform, but there was no way to connect with each other. So we have here, some of the members have uploaded the photos, activity, who's doing what comes over here. These are forums which you can join. You are already added into certain groups and forums, which you'll find it. And if I just come here, let's say courses. So this is how the courses looks. This is your courses, no, all courses, and this is my courses. So we have all courses, what we are offering. If you want to quickly sign up, you can sign up from here, because this is also, I believe, looks like an admin account. Therefore, it's showing everything for me. And then you can go to newsfeed. This is like your Facebook or LinkedIn things where you have a newsfeed. Whoever is doing anything, looks like Mother Priyanka have posted something here. I had done a welcome message. So like that, we get to interact with each other. And the last thing is your social groups. Social group are not yet active here. So you can go to your groups. Oh, I have to make it groups active. So anyways, you have groups into your thing. And last thing I would like to just show here, when you click on evolve comment, well, this is your account. You can click on your profile. Error establishing a database connection. Is working slow. Okay. Fine. So if you want anything, if you want anything to be shown or not shown to the public for that reason, you can always go here and you can change the settings as you change in Facebook to make your profile public, private, only to your friends. That all option is there. So do take part into this. Let's come on the single platform. That was the whole idea. And then, let's say we have a Be Yogi group. Where whatever we have read, what I intend to do is what we are discussing. Let's say we read something, we create an opportunity where some of you or all of you, if you want, you can start a discussion. Srila Prabhupada's this particular point was very interesting, and another devotee can go and comment on it. Your thoughts. See, all of us like to interact. We go and type message in Facebook. We interact on WhatsApp. Why don't we interact among ourselves with all the members of this Be a Yogi group? So you have a dedicated group for this Be a Yogi members. And when you go into your account, you'll see that. And then there is a forum created for this group where you can start typing and all the members of this group will get to know the message. So you can share your realization, you can share some point on the members. So which means there is a communication between the students also. So which means every student becomes a participant. That is something if we want to do it. I'll share more details when we publish a video about it. That was the whole project. We had been working day and day night all this last week. Finally, what I wanted to start this whole forum, this Evolve Pune, has come to this kind of a conclusion. So with that as a background, I guess, please go ahead and take a minute or two if you can. Please, if you can update your profile, add your photo, put in some details. We have created a system where, I'll get to know whose birthday is there and I can send you a birthday wish, because I'm very poor with dates. I trouble with that. So we can have all that. Not only me. Now you can wish birthday to all your fellow members. Everyone knows whose birthday is when. We don't have to join each other on Facebook. On this platform, you can give a friend request, join with each other, and know each other. Like that, that's the whole idea. Just to create a facility for larger machitta madgata prana bodhyanta parasparam. Why not? We do that. That was the whole idea. All right, with that, I'll pause here. I'll share more details into the video. I'll give a whole demo to our team who is sitting here for them. All right. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Please do take a minute and do spend 2-3 minutes to filling that. Hare Krishna.